Hey YouTube, welcome back. One day after I got this, well, I've had it for a couple days now, I thought I'd give kind of a day one update. I haven't had it that long, it's kind of second impressions times. I just practiced for like 3.5 hours playing this back to back with my other axial instrument and my 42B, and I played my whole warm-up / fundamentals thing. I played my whole Arbenz routine, and I just played a bunch of etudes back to back on each instrument, so I could really get to feel how this is in an environment I know against instruments that I know pretty well. And I'm also playing this in the hardest to play configuration. I've got the screw bell, which is heavier, just a little bit slower response. Doesn't sound quite as good. And my dual bore slide with Shire's 2 lead pipe. This is probably not the setup I would use every single day, but just due to the case Tetris and stuff, this has to live in the screw bell case. And I don't want to swap around the bell, I don't want to swap around slides, so this is what it is for the moment. I have a new case on the way. And so what do I think? What are the pros and cons? There are cons of this instrument. Well, let's talk about a couple of the bad things. It is heavy. I talked about making this lightweight. Got the short tubes, got the one big spider brace. Spider brace does whatever spider brace does. Thank you, commenter, for that little jingle. And still heavy, especially with this bell. My other bell is just a little bit lighter, and of course doesn't have the added 4 ounces or whatever of ring on the end. And so this is kind of the unfun setup. It's still playable. It's not that heavy. I think it's still lighter than the stainless steel valve section I had way back. It's just still heavy. And so playing it back to back with the other stuff, I'm like, oh, here we go again. And you just kind of pick it up like, ooh. And I played some of the really long Arbenz exercises. I think number 46 in the first section is like a 1.5 pages long. And it definitely wore me down over the course of that. So this is not something I would play for hours and hours and hours and hours like this. Another ergonomics thing is that, and this is not something that is Ben's fault at all, I think these valves are wider than most axial valves. I only have one other set to compare against, but I'll show you this. On a normal instrument, with just a rotor or a straight horn or whatever, even double rotors, doesn't really matter. You can hold the instrument kind of like this. And I'm talking about this angle right here, kind of the slide when you rest it against your neck. It's nice and easy. And you can see my wrist and my arm have this nice straight line. My arm can be relaxed. And you get kind of used to that, right? And then on axial instruments, because the valves take up a bunch of space and the slide is still the same width as the slide I just used, the angle is now different. I have to lift it up like this just a little bit so you can see just barely. The angle here to keep the wrist straight has to go out, or I have to break the wrist just a little bit of angle in there. And I usually break the wrist because I want to keep the arm relaxed. This one is not that exaggerated. There is a little bit of a difference, especially when I go back and forth between this and my 185. And then this, which also has axials, should be about the same as that, is much more exaggerated. It's about here. And of course, the bell makes it look even more exaggerated because there's a pretty big angle on the slide connector here. Don't really look at that, just look at the slide angle compared to the other horns. The 42B was something like this, and this is like this. Now, of course, I could just hold it the same way at this angle, but then the mouthpiece doesn't hit my face in the same way. It's in a different spot. It's got pressure in different places. I'm trying to keep this consistent because that makes me play better rather than keeping the right angle. So in order to keep that mouthpiece in the right spot, it's in a quite different hand arrangement. And sometimes I'll pick it up and just kind of like hold it normally, and I'm like, ooh, this doesn't feel good. I'm like, oh, it's because this is all completely different now. So I think that's just a thing about these valves. They're just a little chunkier than Thayers that I've had in the past. And I didn't know that, because if you just pick it up quickly and don't really adjust for that, you might not notice, and you're just going to be like, it doesn't feel that good on the face because it's in a different spot. Second valve right now, it makes a lot of noise. Olsen valves make a lot of noise because they have ball bearings. That's not metal on metal contact. It's the ball bearings going. So that's not the problem. The problem is it's just a little bit slow. It wants to hang up on actuation just every once in a while. And right now it's actually pretty good. I'm probably just playing it in a little bit. It's weird because when it's upside down, it has great action. When it's kind of right side up or in playing position, sometimes it wants to hang. And honestly, right now it's fine. So who knows what that's about? I'll probably take it apart and clean it. And back to Thayer land where you have to do that all the time. Oh well. So all that stuff is ergonomic stuff, mostly con-ish stuff. What about the pros? Well, basically everything else. This has maybe the fastest response of almost any instrument I've ever played. I would have to accept maybe like my 16M, which is a small straight horn. Of course it's going to have good response. I would hope it does. But this is a big old bass with a dual bore slide, the medium lead pipe, a big mouthpiece, and a freaking screw bell on it. And it still just has immediate response in all ranges. Of course, I'm pretty tired after playing for like 3.5 hours. That's my excuse for today, but keep listening. The response below like pedal E is the most insane feeling I've ever had. I've never had a horn that would respond that fast and also just stay open. And this actually is not the best setup for this. It actually does this better with the other bell. Yeah, I can't really do it right now because I just played for so long. But I can play the loudest pedals I've ever done in my entire life without really practicing them a lot on this instrument. It's ridiculous. And it's not like a lot of work or super air hog. It does take some air, but it just works. It's crazy. And then of course, the upper range is basically just as good. I swear I know where high G is. It's so easy up there. I can put these nice little light articulations, not too much air, just boop, 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 boop. Just tap them, and a nice centered, easy sound comes out. At least I think it does. It feels that way. And it's very flexible. I was playing some slurs to start the day, and I was doing some stuff faster than I ever have on this massive thing with this screw bell on it. Honestly, I'm blown away. Last night, I played it a bunch before going to bed, and I was just lying there like, I just want to go play this bass trombone. And I've gone through a lot of horns. What is it, like 40 something at this point? I've had some really good ones. I've played a lot of really amazing horns. I've borrowed some really amazing horns. And I can't think of any of them that have made me feel like, ooh, I just want to go play that. Like, not even just look at it. I want to play it. I want to go play with other people. I want to play etudes and stuff. This doesn't happen very often. I felt this way about a couple other instruments that I did not own. Nothing that I owned. So this might actually ruin some of my other instruments for me. We'll see. I'm really happy with this so far. Obviously, some small downsides that I'll have to live with, but that's literally every instrument. And the stuff that kind of matters, what comes out of the bell, is the best part. So there we go. Day 2 impressions. Should be able to play this with other people soon. Who knows? You guys will know first, of course. That's all I got. Bye-bye.